So we
Okay.
are recording, and everyone is now back on mute. So please make sure to unmute yourself. So first of all, first and foremost, it's 2021, right? So we made it through last year, and I felt that last year flew by. I honestly felt like we were just crazy busy, and the year went so fast. It was over before we even knew what hit us. So this year, and again, if you kind of remember why we started with Title Toolbox Tuesdays, was to have people come on in our business, our customers, your clients, and kind of share how everyone's doing during the pandemic. Because we started this in March of last year, and it's probably a safe bet to say that come March of this year, we're still going to be in dire straits as far as the pandemic. I'm hoping that the second quarter of this year, things really lighten up as the vaccine starts to roll out. So I'm hoping for all good stuff. And I was just speaking with Davina, and I live in Las Vegas, you probably know. And right now, we just went into another 30 days of restrictions. So most of the people on the call here are probably California, and I certainly watch California. Our office is in Costa Mesa. So yeah, it's tough out there. So my rambling point here is this year, I'd like to hear a little bit more from the people on the call. You know, just how are you doing? How's business? How are you marketing? Because I had some great ideas. We had great ideas last year on how to market during the pandemic. Terrific idea. So this is kind of a kickoff to 2021. There's not going to be any changes. We're going to do them basically the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. Now I say basically because in March, there's 5 Tuesdays in that month. I already looked ahead. So basically the second and last Tuesday of the month, we're going to continue putting out our newsletter. And if someone wants to be added to our mailing, can just send me an email. I think everyone has my email address. I could just type it in the chat if you want. It's just jdubois@benutech.com. So again, you're all muted, but if someone would like to just say a couple of things, how you doing? You know, how optimistic are you this year on business? I spoke with a good friend, I will call him a good friend, who recently changed title companies. And he's optimistic, you know, but the pandemic is really changing the way we do business. So one of the things I refreshed his memory about is I work directly for, and I always say, you know, I say you guys, I always work directly for you guys, the title reps. So if you want me to come on and do trainings or presentations with your agents or lenders, just send me an email. That's what I'm here for. Anything that moves the needle, that gets you business, you know, that's why your title companies are connected to Benutech. Anything at all we can do to help you get business, we will. So I was chit-chatting with Davina, who's on the call. I'm still, if you remember last year, I did the staff picks, and my staff pick was liens. And these are all types of liens. They're large amounts of liens. So when I was speaking with my friend, who I just mentioned, Switch Title Companies, I'm not going to mention his name right now, but he's in Southern Cal, in our area. Our office, Benutech, is in Costa Mesa. So what's really hot, again, if I go into California, Orange County, I can select a city. And I'll just take Irvine, for example, singles and condos. And if I go over to Premier Data, drop down liens, and the last X number of months, 12 months, take a look at this count, because I just did this count. I did Irvine, I did Orange, and I did Covina. In every one of those cities, there was over 130 to 147 liens per city. That was over 450 liens almost. And these are all types of liens. They're child support liens, abatement liens, water sewerage liens, default judgments, and probably most importantly was IRS tax liens. And the tax liens really start at like $8,000, $10,000 and scale all the way up. And I was talking to Davina, a couple other people. If you have those types of liens, the IRS is relentless. So as a property owner, what's your choices? Really leaning, no pun intended, but you would be leaning to list your house or sell your house, because you could take the equity out and pay that lien off and move on. Even refi is an option for sure, but you need to have a heck of a lot of equity on some of these liens. So that's why on this call, if you really want to wow your clients, if they say what's hot, out-of-state owners for sure, affidavits of death with us because they're pre-probate, but in my opinion, it still goes back to liens. There's a huge number of liens. Those are 75 cents a piece, excluding phones and emails. So again, I'm more than willing to hop on a call, a presentation, and this is such a huge wow for your client. All right, so feel free, please use the chat window. If you have a question, I'll try to keep an eye on it, or feel free to interrupt. This year, my vision for this Title Toolbox Tuesdays is I'm going to start bringing on more guests, if you will. So I'm hoping, and I'm tying all of this in, this 5 minutes of talk here, I'm going to tie this all in. I'm hoping to get our developer on here for the next session. Great guy, Lynn. He's really very skilled at developing. He's pretty much responsible between him and Ryan Marshall for the bulk of the screen you see in front of you for Title Toolbox. So where am I going with all this? So I have to put up a little bit of a cheat sheet, okay? So we sent out a survey recently. And please send me your email address if you would like the survey to go back out, because we sent the survey out. Here was the email we sent it out. And again, I know Laurie doesn't like to be mentioned, but she's awesome. She's our marketing person, and she can send this back out. We had it on our newsletter. If you're not getting our newsletter, we'll sign you up for the newsletter as well. But we put in a survey there. And the survey was, I'm going to go back here a second, for demographic data and audience ad placement. So tying this all in, you know, it's a huge team effort. It's a lot of midnight hours to get these websites up, and the decisions we make. And I know Ralph's on the call today. He's the director. He's kind of tied up, so he's probably not going to be speaking today. It's a huge amount of effort from a relatively small company to get this product to you. And, you know, as I say, the proof is in the pudding. We were really incredibly successful last year. So moving forward, you know, the great thing about our company is you can reach out to Ralph, Matt, Brian, myself. What you say to us gets passed on. It's one degree, like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's 1 degree between us and our development team, Lynn or Ryan, the owner. So what you say carries a lot of weight and gets to the right person for consideration. So before we make an investment, and it's significant in both money and time for integration, we wanted to see, if this is going to be a feature that is going to be used and utilized. Because we've done some things in Title Toolbox. For example, you may or may not be aware of the marketing tab. So for the title reps on the call, I have the same permissions that you have. So I see what you have. Your end users, if there's an agent on or a lender, you don't see above you. So the title reps and myself have a marketing tab. I thought that was a fantastic idea for those that used to get the daily text and the marketing. Fantastic idea, hands down. It was totally underutilized. So I'm not sure, to be honest, where we're at with the marketing. I'd love to see us really pick that back up and run with it. Because I did a lot of trainings, and I had a lot of people that did use it, but then it kind of went by the wayside. So the demographic data, I know a lot of people want that. For example, ethnicity, we had a filter in, it went away. There's a workaround where you can take common surnames from certain groups, plug it in, and it's going to give you a pretty good ethnicity filter. Not quite the same. So the survey, please let me know if you want the survey out again. We're still collecting data. I want to be clear. We have not signed off or come to a conclusion whether we're going to include demographic data or the audio ad placements for Facebook. I'm hoping we do. And how that would affect the title reps is this is something that through Title Toolbox, no matter if it's, OR Pro Farm or Fetch, however it's branded, it's still Title Toolbox. This is something where you're able to bring this to the next level to your agents and lenders. Because right now, I say this a lot, we're one of the very few companies that have liens, very few. So if you have a lender or an agent marketing to properties with liens, they're way ahead of their competition. And that means as a title rep, you look like a superstar, which you are. So if you want demographic data or be able to place ads on Facebook through our system, that's just going to let you take it to the next level. So again, I want to be clear, if you missed a survey, this is the information that we need, that we want to know truly, are you going to use it? You're not committed, but we need to have the numbers to justify, as Ralph would say, the calories, the man hours that go into coding and the cost. All right. Questions, please shoot it in the chat, speak up, comments on data, because that will really be a game changer, as I say. I think we've already changed the game quite a bit this year with the program, and I'm hoping we're going to do even more. I had made some bullet points. Obviously, I needed a cheat sheet to remind myself on kind of comments, items that came across my radar towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So one, farm email notifications. I actually always talk about this. And I had a title rep say, she sent me the actual email from one of her lenders, didn't understand what it was. So I want to make sure we all understand farm mail notification. When your client, lender, agent have saved farms, they will receive an email. The email, and they're staggered throughout the week. They used to go out just on, I think, Sunday. Now it depends on your title company and where you are in our rotation. So they're staggered throughout the week. They're going to receive a weekly update. Here's what's sprouting in your farm, and it will have the property address and what went on, like a new loan, a refi, or a title transfer. So I've said this a lot where some of the agents say enough already, we don't want any more updates. So as title reps, you need to build the value to that. It's really important. If I'm a lender and I see someone else is farming or prospecting in my area and a property owner refied, the first thing that property owner is going to do is brag to his nearby neighbors, his friends, oh, I'm saving $200 a month, $300 a month. So it kind of is a domino effect. Everyone wants to hop on and speak to a lender. Same way with an agent. Person moves in, new neighbors come over, they become friends. Sooner or later, they're going to say, hey, if you don't mind me asking, what did you pay for the place? If you don't mind. What they're really asking is, I think my house is just as good as yours. I've been thinking about listing. I'm just curious. I don't want to speak to an agent right this moment, or I haven't, but it's on my radar to maybe get a value on my property. So you want to build the importance of these weekly updates, because if you look at this bullet point right here, we do not have it built in. I'm not saying we will, but we cannot specify by reps. In other words, I'm just going to pick on Annie here. She's on. If Annie said, hey, I would like to turn off certain users, they don't want the updates. No, we can't do that. So it's a whole company. The company is either in it or not. So the majority of companies we have are getting those weekly updates for their end users. So that's important. So I don't know, I don't have any statistics on this saying, 20% of the end users don't want them. And in actuality, the comments I get are all positive, and I've only maybe had a handful of end users that don't want that weekly update. So I just want to put that out there. The next issue, if you will, or the next big deal, and is when you purchase Premier Data, I always highly recommend your end users to export that data, always. Always export it. And we disclose this on the when you make a purchase here. And give me just a second here. I thought I had that up, but give me just 1 second here. Give me just a second. Right here, I made a screen capture today, actually. Let's see here. I might have lost it. I might not allow me to do that. Hold on. Okay, hold on a second here. Give me just a second, guys. Yeah, okay. All right, so now you can see that, right? I'm pretty sure you can see that. I just have to switch my screen around. So when you go to buy data, you get this alert, if you will. Okay? So we put that out there. Again, probably not read. I get a lot of questions about it. So I'm going to go back to my notes here, my cheat sheet. That verbiage says records will be saved and actively updated, meaning the owner information, for the next 15 days. After 15 days, any mortgage or lead information will not be available from the list. So if I went in and I bought whatever, loan records, the liens, after 15 days, that information is not available. The records will remain saved within the farm with the assessor record. So think about that a minute. If I bought, say, 20 liens, after 15 days, the lien information, which really is not going to change, and you exported it, like this person has a 1040 tax lien, blah, 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 you still have that on your spreadsheet. That's why you export it. You would still have that property address in your farm. So nothing's really changed in that matter. Nothing, truly. So, but as a safeguard, you want to export the data. The reason for that is, if you think about how many people we have using this platform, which is tens of thousands, and the amount of farms they all have, all that saved data, it's a huge amount of service space, for one. That's one. So that's why I wanted to bring this up to people about that 15-day rule, okay? 15-day rule. The farm will not be diluted. All right, questions so far? Any questions, guys? All right, so this brings me up to a little bit of a, and as I promised, this year I'm going to try and do a Title Toolbox 101. So one of the questions I get a lot of is, how do I find an email or a phone number for one property? So you can do that for sure. The success on that, and we're going to do this live today, so we'll see. The success on that truly is 50-50. We either have it or we don't. It's a one-off property. So when you purchase phone numbers, we tell you through Data Finder, our vendor for the phone numbers, the quality's been exceptional, but we tell you that we're going to match on a high end 75% of phone numbers at 5 cents a piece and 35% email match. So if I have 100 properties, we should get you around 70 phones and probably 30-ish email. And that's what you build for. So that's not news. None of this is news, but again, this is kind of 101. So let's just say I have a property and I want a phone number. How do I find that? It has to come from a farm. So you have to create basically a one property farm. So if you go into this box here and it says search an address and it defaults to net sheet, well, this is actually called instant lookup, where I can put an address in. So if you have a chat window open, someone give me an address. Let's see if it works or not. Again, we might not get it, but I'll show you how to do this. Give me an address, someone. Put an address in the chat, or just unmute yourself and give me an address to try it today. Any addresses? Single family would be great if we have it. I just want to try and find their phone number or email. If not, I'm going to pick an address. All right, great. Thank you. Thank you. So 857 Grove Acre. And right, so there's my property I want to find an address for. Probably in your title toolbox, it says net sheet. The drop down right here, new or a pen farm. I want to make a new farm. So I'm just going to call this 857 Grove, just so I can find it. Save. Now I've created a one property farm. That's simple. One property farm created. First step. Okay. If I go up to farming, farms, save farms, there's my one property farm right there. I select it. So that's two steps. I created the farm, one property farm, and I brought it up. Map on the left, my one property on the right. Premier data, third step. Phones and emails, what are we looking for? Let's go both phones and emails. Get the count. Showing 12 cents. Now, refresh your memory again on this. If this was a large farm of 100 properties, 1,000 properties, that cost would scale up exponentially. That's not what you billed for. We will check the account to make sure you have, in this case, only 12 cents. If you do, we'll go ahead and do the search for you But ultimately, the final bill is on that match, which is 75% match or 35% match for email. So that should make sense. I pay now. If you remember, we put the wallet in here so you don't have to always go in and put credit card in. So my balance in my wallet today is $724. Pay secure, display records. Now, even though it's one property, I might have rushed it a little bit. So let's go over here and see if we find a phone number. And I'm going to guess that I'm going to have to refresh this. So there's the phone number. So how easy was that? Totally unrehearsed. So I did find the phone number. Didn't get that email. So if I go into farming, this is like step 3 or 4, down to farms, save farms. Now there's that new farm right here. See it? So you could rename this if you want, like 857 Grove phone numbers or whatever. But again, all you do is hit select. If this is a larger farm, one property, I didn't really have to wait. 100 properties, you might want to wait a minute or two. If it's a large farm, it could take half hour, an hour. So the point is, we're not going to find that email address. And if you remember, it was 35% match, and that's on a farm with a significant amount of properties where the more, in my opinion, the more properties you have in a farm, the greater the match rate is, the success rate. So I told you going in, it was a 50-50. So exactly right. I found one phone number, didn't find the email. And the phone numbers, like I said, 75% chance we're going to match them. So that was great, worked out very well. Phone numbers are primarily mobile numbers. Not many people have landlines. There might be a few Skype numbers, IP numbers in there, but primarily cell phone. So if you wanted to, you just hit export. This option here, CSV Farm, is the only option, and it's a really big spreadsheet to get that phone number and email out. So if you remember, I said, please export. That's the only option to get phone numbers and emails out. It's a really big spreadsheet, and you can always edit that on Excel or numbers afterwards. All right, so that's the lesson for today. And thank you, Manelli. Let's see here. Yeah, so Manelli also asked, since in California we cannot provide phone numbers, you're right, because that's not compliant. You're right. So the difference here in our program, you can share a query. So there's a farm and there's a query. So the term query and searches, search query are synonymous. They mean the same thing. Farm and query do not mean the same thing. A farm means it's all said and done and you can view it, whether it be just assessor records or whatever. A query indicates, like in this case with Manelli, that there's premier data attached. So as a title rep, you could find a farm or create a farm for your end user and add that to their account. And maybe that would be our next lesson, is how to add an account, add a farm. Okay, let me just jot that down. So for next time, that might be my lesson, is how to add a farm. And the same method for queries. So in other words, I have an agent, he wanted that one phone number, say, or any phone number. How do I get that over to him? So if I go into farming, always clear my search. I go into farming, and let's just say area search. And let's just take, what county is Milpitas in, Davina? Is that, that's not LA, what is that? What is it?
Santa Clara.
Okay, thank you. Since you mentioned it, I wanted to, hold on a minute. All right, I wanted to take Milpitas since you mentioned it today. All right, so in Milpitas, I wanted to do with the lean count for Davina. Just curious, since she mentioned that. All right, so let's just say I have a lender or an agent. They're in Milpitas. They're interested in liens. There's 54 liens, Davina, in Milpitas. That's awesome. I would love, and I could add phones and emails, by the way. Okay, get count. I would love, as a title rep, to buy these. Love to, and give them to my lender or agent. Can't do it, right? Can't do it because of SB 133. So what I can do is I can share this query. I can name it. Oh, so hold on a minute. I save the query first of all. And I'm probably going to spell Milpitas wrong. I have to cheat a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to save Milpitas liens. All right. And now I can go in and I can share the query. All right, Milpitas liens. And now I find the person I want to share it with. So I could type the name in. Okay. And wouldn't I have to be in, like, if I'm with whoever I'm with, I have to be in that website. So I could just pick someone like, and I don't want to do it to Ken. So say Ryan, our owner, and now share query. So success. So Ryan, if he's my agent or my lender, now has that shared query in his account, and he'll get an email about that. Let me give you another tip while we're at it. I always say, as title reps, create a secondary account, whether it be your Gmail email address or whatever email. That way, if you want to practice, like share your query, sharing a farm, saving a farm to someone else's account, and you want to see how the whole thing flows, you have that second test account to do that. So if I go into farming, down to farms, searches and queries, remember, save searches. So here's my Milpitas one that I saved, and then here's the one that I saved to Ryan. Cool. So now, depending on where, our hypothetical end user Ryan's at in the program, I would call him up. You can't buy them, but hey, Ryan, it's, Davina. I just shared a query with you on liens. They're really hot in Milpitas right now. To build your value, to take your game to the next level, get him on Zoom if he needs to, and walk Ryan through it. Hey, how do I find that query? Well, you go to farming, save searches, like I just farming, save searches, it comes up. He selects, just walk him through to check out, get count, and he'll get that same price, and he'll check out. Okay, he'll check out. All right, it's that simple. Questions, guys? You're all on mute. Unmute yourself if you have questions. But I still say liens are really good. Really a great event to go after. Of course, unless you're the one with the lien. All right. So we really want the feedback on the survey for the demographics and the Facebook. I think that's killer. I think if you sleep on that, what we're really offering to bring to you and in turn to your clients, that's huge. It's not going to happen overnight. And we are not committed to doing that yet. Again, it's a huge undertaking on our end. We're just trying to get a feel for, is there going to be a need to justify this amount of cost and effort? So we want to hear from you. There is a recording available of this session. I'll make sure that it goes out to everyone. It'll be a little bit later today. I'll send the link out, okay? So let us know what you think about the demographic data. Personally, I'd like to see it. And again, we haven't made a full decision on that. And if you also remember, the point of this Titled Toolbox Tuesday is to bring new stuff. Not many people know about this unless they get in on these sessions. You guys are getting this really firsthand. So we appreciate the input. Anyways, that's it this week, guys. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Let me know what I can do to help you out, please. Okay?
Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks
You
so
too.
much.
See you. All right. Take care,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Take care.
Bye. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Take care. Bye, guys.